Welcome to our meeting. The date is January 27, 2026. The time is 7 p.m. This is an open meeting of the Grand Island City Council. The City of Grand Island abides by the Open Meetings Act in conducting business. A copy of the Open Meetings Act is displayed in the back of this room as required by state law. The City Council may vote to go into closed session on any agenda item as allowed by state law. Now, would you please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. The city clerk will now perform roll call.
Councilmember Sheard.
Present.
Councilmember Stelk. Present. Councilmember Conley.
Present.
Councilmember Nickerson.
Present.
Councilmember Brown.
Present.
Councilmember Hawsey.
Present.
Councilmember Mendoza.
Present.
Council President O'Neill.
Present.
Councilmember Pollock will be absent. Councilmember Lanfear. Present. And Mayor Steele.
Present. Also present are Jill Grenier, the city clerk, Patrick Brown, the city administrator, Carrie Fisk, the city attorney, and Keith Kurtz, the public works director. Individuals who have appropriate items for city council consideration should complete the request for future agenda items form located at the information booth. If the issue can be handled administratively without council action, notification will be provided. If the item is scheduled for a meeting or study session, notification of the date will be given. As I understand it from the consent agenda, items F and M have been removed. Is that correct, Mrs. Grenier?
Yes.
Does the council wish to remove any other consent agenda items? Hearing none, we shall continue. A sign-up sheet was available in the lobby for individuals wishing to provide input on any of tonight's agenda items. If you did not sign up to speak on an agenda item, please come forward, state your name and the agenda topic on which you will be speaking. No one has come forward, so we shall continue. The first item on our agenda is 6A, recognition of the Grand Island Senior High Unified Bowling Team on their state championship. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to say that we have the best in the state joining us as we kick off our meeting. Tonight isn't just about a trophy or a title, which this team has already won. It's about what this team represents, not only for Grand Island Senior High, but our entire community. This bowling team didn't just compete. You showed up for one another and proved that when everyone is included, everyone wins. A state championship is special. But what makes this one truly meaningful is the way you carried your school's name with pride and reminded all of us what school spirit is truly about. To the coaches and supporters who believed in this program, thank you for creating a space where every student belongs and every voice matters. And to the team, you made history and are inspiring younger students watching from the stands. It might not seem like much now, but you're setting a standard that will last long after this season ends. On behalf of the City of Grand Island, we are proud to recognize you tonight. Congratulations on your state championship, and thank you for showing our community what true teamwork looks like. Mrs. Grenier and I will present you with a certificate of appreciation and a commemorative pin. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge Calvin Hubbard, the principal at Grand Island Senior High School. Started out many years ago as a science teacher, moved into administration, and is now the principal at Senior High School. Welcome, sir. You must be very proud of your students. Well, we have some bowlers here to acknowledge, so let's get started. The first is Brock Kramer. Brock, we're going to get a picture. Wendy Kolar. Eric Stutzlick. Hunter Spanger. Bailey Vodenall. Assistant coach Eric Kolar. Assistant coach Ronna Inc. The head coach, Mark Duvall, could not be here this evening, so I'm going to present his certificate and his pin to you. Now, one thing, Spencer, they wore their team uniforms, they brought their trophy. I'd like to get a group picture with the bowlers, Principal Hubbard, the coaches. So let's line up and do that. I want the folks at home to see this magnificent state championship trophy.
If there are parents that want to kind of huddle around and take a photo too, by the way, now they're busy and writing their names on the plaque. Oh, yeah.
Jose.
Charles.
Come on, Jose. Jose, you're a part of this.
Must wait on this. There you go. A little bit.
I should be good at this by now. I know, right?
All right. Do a quick countdown. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Now the parents.
Good? Thank you. Thanks for bringing your students.
Thank you.
What a great way to start a meeting. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 7F and 7M? Mr. O'Neill?
I move that we approve the consent agenda with the exceptions of 7F and 7M.
Mr. Lanfear? Any discussion?
Please vote. Motion adopted.
7F, approving proposal for Pier Park Lake Trail and water quality study. Mr. McCoy, please tell us about this.
During the budget discussions last summer, we talked about a lot of the big projects that we had on the list this year. The Pier Park Lake Trail was one of those projects, and we talked about how we thought that was one that we could delay because we needed to study it a little bit more for some solutions, how to fix that trail. Also at that time, there was concerns brought up about the lake, so we agreed to study the lake as well. So what we did is we went out for an RFP. We did get 4 proposals from consulting firms to study the trail, the seawall, the lake, and just give us some ideas for some solutions and some estimates for those solutions. JEO proposed in their proposal $108,445, and that is the proposal that we're recommending tonight.
Mr. Brown?
Move we approve 2026 TAC 14.
Thank you, Mr. Lanfear. Any discussion? Mr. Brown?
The importance of this for the people who live around Pier Park is, I've heard about this for a few years now, but it's good, and I've talked to them after he proposed this, and they're real happy about it, just to let you know.
Thank you.
Please vote. Motion adopted.
7M, approving the submission of the 2024-2025 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report for Community Development Block Grant Program funding to HUD. Please proceed, Mrs. Alvarez.
Yeah, so this agenda item is our end-of-the-year report that we submit annually to HUD, as Mayor said. The program year started October 1 of 2024 and ran through September 30th of 2025. This year was a little different, and compared to some of our past capers, this one wasn't quite as lengthy. We had a unique federal year this past year with ever-changing kind of federal requirements in the program, as well as kind of some delays in funding and when we were getting them. And so we didn't quite see as many accomplishments as we typically do. A few of our programs were unable to move forward because of those changing requirements, but we did have a handful that were able to move forward successfully. I believe that outside of program administration, we were able to spend approximately around $54,000, and that was able to serve around 130 individuals. Those were mainly from 2 different programs, which were both daycare programs in our community. And so we were able to partner with Central Department, or Health Department, and then also the YMCA of Grand Island. We're able to do daycare scholarship type programs where they were able to help those that are low income, kind of with, that don't quite meet the daycare subsidies, but still fell within our parameters for low income to help with those needs. And I think that's about it. That was in this program.
Thank you. Mr. Sheard?
Thank you. I move that we pass item 7M.
Mr. O'Neill?
I second the motion.
Discussion, Mr. Nickerson?
Thank you for being here, Amber. Hate to ruin your Tuesday nights, but always think it's a good idea just to share what we see as a worksheet, a spreadsheet, and that, the public can't see that. So I think it's a good idea to share what we've been able to accomplish. You said we've been able to partner with the Health Department this year and with the Y. Didn't get as much done as we were hoping. Does that hurt us in the future because we weren't able to spend those dollars? Does that just help us to have that money available for this coming year?
So we're still in a position where we're able to write some amendments, and we are switching some of the funding over to city projects. Over the last year, we kind of thought those were the safest to make sure that we spend the money in a faster time frame, and that they're, as a city, we're able to control those and make sure that the new requirements, and if requirements are being changed, that we can meet them. So we have a few public facility type programs that are going to go through this year, such as curb ramp projects and a large wastewater project. That'll be going
Those
through
all
the funds.
qualify according to what the money can be used for then without a problem?
Yes.
Good. All righty, well, thank you for sharing with us tonight.
Please vote. Motion adopted.
We will now take up our public hearings. 8A, public hearing request from Downtown Industry LLC, doing business as Sin City Grill, 410 West 3rd Street, Grand Island, Nebraska, for a Class C liquor license. Mrs. Grenier.
An application for a Class C liquor license was filed with the Liquor Control Commission and received by the city on December 31st, 2025. A notice to general public of date, time, and place of hearing was published on January 17th, 2026. A notice to the applicant of date, time, and place of hearing was mailed on January 2nd, 2026, along with Chapter 4 City Code alcoholic beverages. Departmental reports were received as required by City Code, and recommendation is to approve upon final inspection. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this item? If not, public hearing is now closed.
Mr. O'Neill.
I move that we approve 2026-22.
Mr. Brown.
I second that motion.
Any discussion?
Please vote. Motion adopted.
Public hearing 8B, public hearing to consider rezoning property at 501 South Gun Barrel Road in the north half of the south half of Section 18, Township 11 North, Range 8 West of the 6 p.m. in Merritt County from transitional agriculture and secondary agriculture to large lot residential. Mr. Nabity.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The item before you this evening is a rezoning. Hooker Brothers dug a lake out just south of A Road, so somewhere kind of between A Road and Bismarck on the east side of Gun Barrel. That is in Grand Island's 2-mile zoning jurisdiction. Grand Island's city limits are really just past Shady Bend there, which means that we go a little bit further than a mile into Merritt County at this point. Because it's in Grand Island zoning jurisdiction, you have authority to control the zoning in that area. Rick Johnson is here. He has purchased the lake from Hooker Brothers. He is moving material off of that. There's still a lot of material there that needs to be rearranged and to be moved off of there. But he is hoping to develop that lake. Initially, he is looking at 3 lots along Gun Barrel Road, and then unsure what's going to happen with the remainder of the property. Grand Island, since the mid-1990s, has required that whenever there are more than 4 lots created along an existing road, or anytime you add a new road or out in that 2-mile jurisdiction, you put in sewer and water lines, even if they're not able to be used. They will be dry lines. So what he's doing is 3 lots right now with the remaining portion, so that we'll see what happens with that at some point in the future. But at this point, he would have 3 lots to sell if this is rezoned. It does need to be rezoned in order to do those 3 lots. It is consistent with the comprehensive plan that was adopted last year. As you can see on the map here, and maybe you can see it, and I know you've got it in front of you, the East Lakes area, the Hidden Lake, Davis Lake, Keister Lake area is all zoned large lot residential, so this is an extension of that large lot residential zoning district. The comprehensive plan also defines sand pits as they are when they are active as an industrial or commercial use, and then we transition those to a residential use. So as this ends and is transitioning, it would become a residential use and expected to be a residential use. The Interjurisdictional Planning Commission with Merritt County did meet on this on January, at their meeting in January, and they did recommend approval of rezoning this. We had a few neighbors there that were interested in what was going on, but they didn't have anything to say either for or against the project. As I said, Mr. Johnson is here if you've got any specific questions for him. Planning Commission did recommend approval. If this is approved, there is a plat for those 3 lots that you would consider later.
Public hearing is now open. Rick, did you want to speak, or just if there's questions?
If there's any questions,
Okay.
happy to answer. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this item? If not, public hearing is now closed.
Mr. Brown,
Move we approve 10,061.
Mr. Lanfear. Any discussion? Mr. Sheard?
Yeah, quick question.
Yes.
I was looking at the map and looking at it here. That butts up against the city limits, right?
No,
It doesn't.
it does not. City limits is at Shady Bend Road, a mile away.
Okay, that's where I was confused. I couldn't remember if this was,
Nope, this is, I actually had a question from Steve White about annexing into Merritt County. And if the Gun Barrel Road was in city limits, we would be annexing this.
okay.
But because we've got a mile between city limits and this, we're not.
Thank you.
Did you need to suspend the rules? This is an ordinance.
Yes, we do.
And Mr. O'Neill, do you have a motion to suspend the rules?
Yes, I move that we suspend the rules.
Mr. Lanfear? Any discussion?
Please vote. Motion adopted. Here's the vote on the actual approval. Mark, can you vote? Motion adopted.
Resolution 9A, consideration of approval of Gun Barrel Lake subdivision, final plat, and subdivision agreement. Mr. Navity?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was not on consent agenda because I wanted to make sure that the rezoning passed before we brought this forward for approval. If you had not approved that, I would have said, let's pull this item. This does meet the regulations under the rezoning that you just passed. I would recommend approval. The Interjurisdictional Planning Commission did recommend approval pending the rezoning change.
Rossi?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve Resolution 2026-23.
Mr. Sheard?
Thank you. I'll second that.
Discussion?
Please vote. Motion adopted.
Resolution 9B, approving financing and reimbursement of certain expenditures from bond proceeds issued by the city. Mr. Brown?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Before you is a resolution for financing and reimbursement for bond proceeds for various projects that we have at the city. So I'd like to go through the list of improvements. For the Heartland Events Center, we have the chillers, which we have already are on order, 1.2 million. Boilers on order, 1.9 million. Arena lighting, that is inside the concourse and outside the concourse at 1.7. Sound system, 1.1. The vestibule, we do have an RFQ out for design services for that, for $951,000. Roof replacement, I believe it's the original roof, $974,000. Ice rink revival of $2 million. I did not plug in a grant because we don't know if we're getting a grant. So that total was $10 million. Island Oasis renovation, the borrowing part is $11.5 million. And refinancing Veteran Sports Complex note, it's I believe it was a 5-year note, have $1 million left on that. Then I added in a contingency, not knowing what can happen, obviously. So a total of $23.5 million. So we did look into different loan scenarios. Okay, so loan scenario number 1, it's based off a $1 million payment. The $1 million payment is actually food and beverage occupation tax that we pay currently on the Vets Sports Complex, and the sales tax that we were paying on the debt service for Heartland Events Center. So that's our starting point for loan scenarios. So if we're using $1 million, we do not get enough money for the projects to complete all of them. Plus, it's a 36-year note. So not recommended. Loan scenario number 2, I just go up by $250,000 on payments. So at $1,250,000, fully funds the projects. However, it's a 36-year note, and we do not recommend this as well. Loan scenario number 3, $1.5 million payment, fully funded, 28 years. And we don't recommend that one as well. In these high years, you're paying a lot of interest. So in loan 4, we use $1,750,000, fully funded project, 20-year note, and this would be recommended. However, in order to do that loan scenario, we need to find $750,000 to make this annual payment. Okay? So part of the solutions, possible solutions, increase the food and beverage debt payment. In turn, you're going to decrease in parks projects. Increase sales tax contribution, and that's a decrease in street projects. General fund contribution is decrease in government operations. We could postpone some of these above projects. And these are scenarios that you've heard before. Increase hotel occupation tax from 1% to 3%. Gives you an extra $250,000 to put towards that payment. Or increase the hotel occupation tax from 2% to 4%, and it provides $500,000. So these are the different possible solutions or any combination thereof. So I just want council just to be aware of where you need to find the revenue in order to make these debt payments before we bring a bond ordinance in front of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Council, motion is in order. Mr. O'Neill.
I move that we approve 2026-24.
Mr. Hossie.
I'd second the motion.
Discussion, Mr. Sheard.
2 questions. 1, what exactly were we approving?
So to go shopping for a note,
Gotcha.
to go borrowing,
Okay.
and then
Not
also,
approving any of these things.
and also to reimburse what we've already paid for, like a chillers and boilers.
Okay, that's where, when we started looking at these things, a lot of options there. I didn't know if we needed to come up with one. How much do we still have in our excess, our reserves, or whatever they're, reserves? I know during the budgeting, you showed us the big spreadsheet, and Mitch always gets worried because it gets smaller and smaller and smaller as we go.
Yeah,
but-
that's what I was actually looking for. So 2026 proposed at the end, excess reserve is 7.5. That is above the cash reserve minimum that we set by fiscal policy.
And as that gets smaller, what do we have that going to? Or is that we're just not adding as much to it?
Right now, we're not adding as much to it. So honestly, to go any lower makes me nervous, but it can be done.
You get nervous by going lower there. I get nervous by bonding for 20 years on excess things that we don't have all the money for. So is there a mix?
Hey, I got double nervousness here, so yes.
So is there an opportunity, it wasn't listed on your options there, to buy down some of that with excess reserves? Or was it? Maybe I didn't see it.
It's not on here, but definitely you can, yes. I can, so with this, we are using cash for 4 to 5 million, I believe, of Island Oasis
Okay.
this year. And we're also using cash for the Stolly Park train improvement.
Okay.
And we're using cash for Ryder Park baseball field.
All very good uses of the cash.
Sure.
And that's shown there that we would have the 7 million left over above the 14 million comfort zone? Or
Yes, yes.
have we talked through any projects that you know of that are going to tap into that? Because again, I see it go down to 4 million the following year. Is there another 3 million that's allocated down the line?
No. There is not.
We just come up that short.
Yeah, it's, you get into forecasting, and usually you kind of overcompensate for expenses and undercompensate for revenues. It's a guessing game.
I'm just wondering if there's an opportunity to use, say, I don't know what would make an impact on the debt payment, but when you're looking at a $750,000 deficit a year for 20 years, if there's a way to pay cash on some more of that to bring that down, I'd rather not pay interest.
Right. I don't know if 3 million would make an impact. It would make some sort of impact, but I don't know if it's really that much of an impact. But we will look into it when we start shopping.
Certainly 4 years of the difference
Yes.
that we could buy just by using that. So, okay. Well, I am in favor of all of those projects.
Oh, you are. So am I.
Fantastic, thank you.
Mr. O'Neill?
A few questions here. So Pat, this is really just about there'll have to be future discussion, obviously, of how to pay them, which you've given several options. We're not having to commit to that tonight. This is really just for everyone's transparency of just being able to shop around
Yes.
for them. And the 23.5 million is really seen as the worst case scenario. I know you have some contingency, like a contingency line in there, but some of these other numbers are kind of our worst case scenario and potentially could go under, but so hopefully we could get a little less than that too, potentially.
Yes, I would agree.
And the contingency, you'd still want to factor that in no matter what and take,
I do, and if we don't use it, we can offset it with paying down the bond.
and some of these might be a question for Mr. Rogers as well, because I assume he'd be helping in this also. But as far as like municipal bonds, I don't know what the current rates are right now, and do we anticipate there might be some decreases in that potentially in the next year or two?
Yeah, the ones, the one I recommended was 4.4% interest, so.
And would we be able to start this as a band before it gets converted to a bond, so we might have a little more room before we commit to that if they change? And then assuming if rates were more favorable, even a longer term, we'd still have the ability to refinance in the future as well?
Yes, there was, I think it was 2035 that you can call it.
Okay, so there'd be some flexibility.
Yes.
And obviously, we're not taking out debt today. This is just to kind of get the ball rolling, to shop around, look around, so, Okay.
With that said, here, another option is to take your front side of your note and make it a little lower, put it on the back side, and then at some point refinance if interest rates come down. So, yeah, there's a lot of games to play.
I just want to make, and honestly, if rates were a little more favorable, it could help our payments out quite a bit too, so. It's kind of early, but yeah, I'm in favor of at least shopping around and letting us look for now, and there's obviously going to have to be a lot of discussion later, because there's a lot of options we really need to look at of how to fund the bond payment after that, so, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Hossie.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Pat, for bringing up the options, because I like the idea of discussing how do we finance things. Tonight's resolution is needed just to bond the stuff that we're already spending. So I'm definitely in favor of the resolution. I think the conversations about how do we finance it, and each one of those I have to look at like separately. And so, for example, the first $500,000, because we're going to include the food and beverage, we borrowed $7 million, I think, 5 years ago to build some ball fields out at the north part of town. And they're probably about ready to be paid off in a year or two.
Mm-hmm. They are.
And so what this would do is by using that $500,000, commit that money from food and beverage another 20 years or another 18 years or something like that. I think in the last 5 years, the food and beverage revenue has grown significantly.
It has.
And so maybe there's more of an opportunity than 500,000. I'd like to take a look at all of the demands on the money. What's everybody asking for a piece of that pie? And when I go to the general fund, what I see in the general fund is what's really in the general fund that I think is available is the casino, the gambling, the revenue from casino tax. The headline in the paper was, busts all kinds of records. And so that's got to be good for city tax receipts. And so I think in the general fund, I think there is an opportunity there from the casino tax and maybe the excess or above where we think it should have come in. So I think that's a bucket that's available without decreasing city services. So I like looking at all the pieces. I think when we talked about the lodging tax, we are at 2%, have been at 2%. I think there's, I'd like to talk to the hotel people. I think there's some room. I'm probably not going to go for 4%. That didn't go well when we brought the 4% up the last time. And so I think that there might be some room at 3%. But I think all of these are great things to put on the table. And when we have these conversations with the hotel people about the hotel tax, we want to have everything on the table and everything out in front of us. So I think these are great to start these conversations. But we need to start having those serious conversations about how do we come up with 1.75 million.
Yeah, and to your point, if you do a 1% hotel occupation, that's $250. I think in 3 years, Husker Harvest Days is paid. It's another $200. So yes, there's some things coming down that kind of lightens that load.
Yeah, and I know when we looked at parks projects, they have had a hard time getting everything built. And so all of those things need to be looked at with a little more detail in that. What's the demand from everybody on those sets of funds? Because these buckets are being challenged by, there's a half a dozen people on each one of them saying, I need a little bit more public funding. And so there are challenges on every one of those buckets. And I kind of like to see all of the challenges out there, before we commit to one or another. But thank you very much for bringing it all forward and starting the conversation.
Absolutely.
Mr. Nickerson.
Piggybacking on what Chuck said at the very last there, I wanted to be sure that we're not just looking at this, but we're looking at all the requests. We talked about the livestock group that's looking for funding. I think we just need to look at it all together and see what is out there that may or may not be able to come through us. We don't know what that is, if we can, what we can and can't do. So, yeah, it's just part of the puzzle. My question is, this is the end of January. How long do you anticipate it takes to do the bond shopping that we want to do, as well as trying to decide how we want to fund that?
Anticipated close date of the bond is in May.
We can do all the preliminary work up front, and in the
Absolutely.
meantime, looking for the way to make sure we cover those. So we've got, takes that long to get all that done, huh?
No, it's just going to take that long to have these conversations.
Okay,
I just want to make sure that council's good with what we do.
right.
So it's just making sure you're informed and you have the information to make those decisions.
Brings me to my next question. When do you think is a good time for us to have those discussions about all of this? How soon? Is it a study session event? Is it part of the retreat? Is it too deep for the retreat?
It is part of the retreat,
It will be part of the retreat?
yes.
Okay, so we'll be having some time well spent there for that. And what else have I got? We've already got the proposed rates and the timeline. I think we're good. Okay, thank you.
Righty.
Oh, wait, one more thing. You had some things highlighted in blue. How come those were highlighted in blue?
Those are things that we've already started.
So we already spent some money on those?
Yeah, so we paid half of the chillers, close to $700,000 on the boilers. And Island Oasis, we've spent some of our cash on that so far.
And it's okay, let's go to Jack's point. If we've already spent some of that money, why would we want to turn around and bond that to get it reimbursed if we've already spent it?
It just, I like to hoard cash, so it's part of the general fund, and to Jack's point, yes, we could not pay back some of those expenses.
Well, because we know what our cash balance is already. We know what that is. So to me, it doesn't make sense, if I was doing it personally, that I would, if I've already cashed it and I know I've got adequate cash, I don't know why I would turn around and try to borrow money to cover the money I've already spent.
It's just an option.
Okay, and that would lower our, if we didn't do that, we would lower the amount of our bond then, those
Yeah,
payments.
probably
I don't know.
about, probably about million and a half.
Which might lower the payment by what, 50,000 if that, I don't know. Okay, all things again to just consider, I guess.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, sounds great, thanks.
Mr. O'Neill?
Pat, I just want to add one other note. So obviously, we'll have a future discussion to talk about some of these other options to make the payment. And anytime we're talking about increasing a tax, like the hotel occupation tax, I just want to avoid jumping to conclusions of if it's high enough, too high, or just right, or whatever. I think you might already be working on this, but prior to get us to that meeting, I'd really like to see some comps of where other comparable cities are in those total tax rates. And I know it's not just the city tax, there's also county and other tax in there as well. If we had that discussion, I think it'd be really helpful to, I just want the objective facts to see where we stand compared to others.
Sure,
'Cause I
and
think
that'll be on the 21st as well.
Okay, yeah, I think that'd be good to have. I just want to avoid jumping conclusions without that data, so, thank you.
Please vote. Motion adopted.
Ordinance 10A, consideration of approving changes to Chapter 15 of City Code involving electric utility commercial deposits. Is there a motion to suspend the statutory rules? Mr. Lanfair?
I move we suspend the statutory rules concerning ordinance.
Mr. O'Neill?
I second the motion.
Any discussion?
Please vote. Oh, sorry, hold on. Chuck wants to talk.
Pardon me, Mr. Hossie.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to vote no on this motion, not because I'm against it at this point, but there's more information that I want to hear, and I doubt if we're going to be able to hear it tonight. And so as much as I might support approving the ordinance on first reading, I don't want to pass it on all three readings tonight, because I don't think we'll have the information that we'll need. And I hate to vote no, so I think the best solution for this one, and I haven't had a chance to speak on it yet, but I think the best solution here is to pass the ordinance on two different readings, on two different nights. And so I would vote no on the motion to suspend the rules.
Thank you, Mr. Nickerson.
I would like to hear more about what would you like to know more of? Because you won't be able to speak on the other part. So what are some things, Chuck, that you're interested in, and just out of curiosity, additional information?
Well, I would say that the information that this is an anti-business ordinance, And so it's going to be a detrimental to small business and business. And I think we spend a lot of money on economic development to support small business. And so I want to make sure that the support is there. If we're going to have an ordinance that's money that supports small business and a policy that it's detrimental to small business, I want to make sure that we have the right justification. And with that, it's the numbers for me, and the numbers aren't here. And so that's what we're going to talk about once the ordinance comes up for discussion.
Unless we choose, well, I guess we discuss it either way. Do we discuss it either way? We will discuss it either way, won't we?
Yeah,
So,
we'll discuss it either way.
Yep, we'll discuss it either way. So, yeah. So I can support that as well. I have been in conversation with Ryan on some things too, out of concern, and maybe there's some of the same things you've had.
Mrs. Fisk?
I just want to make, as a point of order, if this matter proceeds on a first reading, second reading, third reading schedule, all that would occur tonight is the first reading. There would be no discussion and debate. So if the goal is to have 3 rounds of discussion and debate, that would need to occur through a motion to continue the matter, just not voting on it tonight. But to progress to discussion, you need to be past first reading. So if that matters, if the goal is 3 rounds of discussion, a continuance procedurally would be the better way to have those 3 rounds of discussion.
A little confused.
So in the statutory rules on ordinances, the progression under statute is to read the ordinance twice and then vote and have your discussion at the 3rd reading. So it's designed pre-electronic notice when people would not know an ordinance was even going to be considered. So you introduced it 3 times and then voted the 3rd time and had your discussion. So if the goal is 3 rounds of discussion, you're better off to get through, actually vote on your agenda item and just not vote on the matter and have the discussion, continue the discussion for 3 meetings. Otherwise, all Ms. Grenier will be doing by statutory rule is reading the top caption of the ordinance, and then we move it to the next meeting, we read it a 2nd time, and then you have your discussion and your vote the 3rd time. So depending on what the goal is, if the goal is more time for public feedback, great. If the goal is 3 rounds of discussion, a continuance of the final vote is the better way to accomplish that. So depending on what the goal is.
So Ryan would be able to share tonight what the plan is, or nothing?
If it is first reading, it is literally the clerk
Just
reading
reading.
the top of the ordinance.
No
So-
discussion.
So I just want, yeah. So if the goal is 3 rounds of discussion, you want to continue it on the end, not at the beginning.
Mr. Sheard?
Thank you. So are we allowed to talk about it before we talk about it? I mean, can Chuck ask his questions now?
All that you can discuss right now is
Statutorily stupid.
is suspending the rules on about whether you're going to do 3 readings. So discussion-wise, if you want to discuss it 3 times, suspending the rules and then just not voting will effectuate that. Otherwise, when you suspend the rules, all you're doing is suspending the rule that says you read it once, next meeting you read it a 2nd time, 3rd meeting you vote on the item.
So if Chuck had some things he didn't think we were going to have tonight, if we didn't suspend the rules, they could read it. Chuck could offline ask his questions and have that as part of next meeting's presentation?
Correct, yeah. But you just, so he could reach out to Mr. Schmidt and have those discussions, but if you as a group collectively want to discuss it, it has to move past that reading stage.
Well, then I would defer to Chuck if he thinks he can get that stuff. Without knowing what you want to talk about, this is that's goofy. I'll defer to Chuck.
Mr. Hossie?
I can honestly say I've been around this place for 50 years, and I've never heard that we can't discuss an ordinance on first reading. So I'll just defer to legal, because I've never heard that we can't discuss it, so.
Okay, so we'll go back to voting on if we're going to suspend the rules or not.
If all you're doing is first reading, there is no action item to have a discussion on, is fundamentally what it comes down to. So if you want that discussion, you need the action item tied to it.
Yep. Okay, so motion failed. So ordinance number 10,062, an ordinance to repeal and replace Grand Island City Code, Section 1550, pertaining to electric deposits requirements, to repeal Section 1515 as now existing, and any ordinance or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and to provide for publication in the effective date of this ordinance being March 1st, 2026. And this is the first reading.
So legal, she read the heading from the ordinance, then that concludes this matter.
That is the only item up on first reading.
We have completed our agenda. We are adjourned.